Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Combermary people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Wednesday, October 4. In Squiz Kids Today, school's back with wild weather everywhere. Meet Japan's Robo-wolf. Online gamers win gold, and it's Fat Bear Week. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
As if the start of a new school term wasn't dramatic enough, large parts of the country were grappling with wild weather yesterday as fires burned in Victoria, storms surged in South Australia, Sydney sweltered in record heat, and flooding rains were predicted for the country's southeast corner, with experts warning we're in for another summer of crazy weather. Strong winds in Victoria's Gippsland were fanning the flames of several blazes yesterday, forcing hundreds to evacuate as the summer bushfire season got off to an early start. Some 25,000 people in Adelaide, meanwhile, were without power yesterday morning after wild winds caused widespread damage there. And Sydney recorded its hottest October 3 in over a decade, as the mercury there climbed to 35 degrees. Whoa! And while to the north of the city fires burned at Cessnock, on the south coast, residents of Bermagui were being advised to take shelter as a bushfire burned there too. Wowzers. Stay safe out there, people. Did you get the memo? That daylight savings is back. It means your clocks will have gone forward by an hour on Sunday, and it now stays lighter, later, and longer if you live in New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Tassie, and the ACT. But no change for those of us who live in Queensland, WA, or the Northern Territory. You know, just to make things extra confusing.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Japan, where the big bad wolf has become the unlikely good guy in the fight against bears. Did you know that Japan has a growing population of both brown and black bears? Once upon a time, the aggressive brown bears lived mainly in the wild, mountainous regions of Hokkaido, away from residential areas which were occupied by humans. But as Japan's population ages and more young people move from regional areas to the cities, the bears are beginning to wander into places that they used to avoid. And due to climate change, the bears' main food source, acorns, are becoming scarce. So, dangerous encounters between humans and bears are becoming more frequent as the bears look to fill their bellies before winter. Enter Robo-wolf to the rescue. With menacing red eyes, very sharp teeth, and a blood-curdling howl, Japanese authorities are using a robotized wolf to try and scare bears away from towns and farmland where humans live. They're the bearers of bad news. Ah, come on, a pun on day one? I couldn't let the opportunity pass me by.
Animal Kingdom.
It's not just robotic wolves making headlines this week. Big fat bears in the US state of Alaska are also making waves as the world settles in for another exciting edition of Fat Bear Week. Long-time listeners of the podcast will know that Fat Bear Week is a highlight of my Squiz Kids year. What's Fat Bear Week, I hear some of you ask? It's when the grizzly bears of Katmai National Park are assessed to see which one has put on the most weight over the northern summer period. You see, when bears come out of their winter hibernation, they spend their summer getting as fat as possible to prepare for the long, cold winter ahead. And in Katmai, that means prowling the waters of Brooks Falls and eating as many juicy salmon as they can stuff into their snouts. Each year, the park rangers take photos of the fattest bears and invite the world to cast a vote to see which bear has gotten the chunkiest in the shortest amount of time. It's a full-blown celebration of animal kingdom gluttony, and I love it. The online voting starts today and goes all week, and yes, I've stuck links in today's episode notes to the voting webpage and also to a cool hype video showcasing this year's contenders. My money, for what it's worth, is on Walker this year. He has positively packed it on.
Sport time.
So much has happened in the sporting world since we last spoke. It's hard to know where to start. The Panthers are now three-peaters, the Pies are AFL champions, and the Aussie women's cricket team are taking it to the Windies as we speak. But it's the Asian Games in China that have captured my attention today, as athletes from all over the world gather to compete in hundreds of sporting events. One that perhaps is the most surprising and encouraging for those of you who like your sports of the armchair variety is the battle for gold that's taking place in the esports events. Now, what are esports? Video games, my friends. And I know a bunch of you know what they are. Yes, that's right. Amid the athletics and swimming and basketball and gymnastics, there are teams of gamers playing for their country at this year's Asian Games. And who was this year's gold-winning team? That would be South Korea, whose team of online gamers beat Taiwan in an epic League of Legends face-off. Game on.
Squiz Kids Live.
Alright, funsters, it might be the first day back at school for many of you, but it's time to get your party on as the Squiz Kids podcast hits the road. I'm talking about the Squiz Kids live show. All the best bits of your favourite podcast brought to life on stage by me and a bunch of special guests. We're talking a spaced-out segment with a real-life astrophysicist, a weird science segment with experiments live on stage, and a visit from a couple of slithery, scaly friends from the Canberra Zoo. Plus, of course, a daytime disco with DJ Ken Supram. It's all happening in Canberra on Saturday, October 14. Tickets are on sale now, but hurry so you don't miss out. Tickets are available via our website, squizkids.com.au, and I can't wait to see you there. It's almost time for the Squiz, but first, I just wanted to say how much I've missed you all over the break. If you've been missing the podcast, why not show us some love and give us 5 stars or write us a glowing review on your podcasting app. It really helps other kids, parents and teachers to find us. And make sure that you're subscribed so that you never miss an episode.
Time for the Squiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What sort of fanged forest predator has been made into a robot version in Japan? Yeah, that's right, it's a wolf. Question number 2. Which country won gold in esports at this year's Asian Games? Yes, that's right, it was South Korea. Question number 3. In which American state, starting with A, is the Katmai National Park, home of Fat Bear Week? Yeah, of course, it happens in Alaska.
Shout-outs.
It's October 4. Today marks the start of World Space Week. How cool. And of course, as we've already heard, it's also the start of Fat Bear Week, which is easily my favourite week of the year. More favourite even than Christmas. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Nawa and Peter from Cronulla, Leo from Parabadoo, Chase from Gundagai, Siddharth from The Ponds, Chloe from Monopara, Desi from Altona Meadows, and Ethan from Sandhurst. And because quite a lot of you celebrated a birthday during the recent school holidays and we don't want you to miss out on a shout out, we're going to spend this week working our way through the long list of belated shout outs, for which I reckon we ought to crack out the old birthday reggae tune. Hit it! And it's a belated happy birthday to Sienna and Frankie from Junee, Posey from Townsville, Annalise from Maruka, Abhinav from Quakers Hill, Krishna from Holsworthy, Ari from North Epping, Ned from Maitland, Logan from Bridgewater, Minnie from Peachtree, Rumbler from Dalkeith, Ryder from Summerhill, Sophia and Zoe from Middle Harbour, Elijah from Wood Park, Anush and Nitin from Greystanes, Ollie from Woongarra, Satyam from Wentworthville, Chloe from Oyster Bay, Muriel from Gerringong, Jackson from Monopara, Carlos from Gordon, Faiz from Queanbeyan, Eva from Oyster Bay, Hayden from Flagstaff Hill, Dia from Rydalmere, William from Orange, Xavier from Crackenback, Harrison from Picktown, and twins Teddy and Henry from Ballarat. And classroom shoutouts will be back next week. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. It's great to be back. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.